Hello to everyone watching this video. Today I'm going to showcase the first section of my pitch for the ideal sequel to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, the film that released last August and is a movie that I happen to enjoy quite a lot. I think James Gunn's direction and writing showed just how much he understood these comic book characters and also how much he understood the core concept of what the Suicide Squad is and what it's all about. So, without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, the title of the film would continue the trend of specification within the franchise itself, referring to how the first film, directed by David Ayer back in 2016, was simply titled Suicide Squad, while James Gunn's sequel/soft reboot of that previous film was titled The Suicide Squad. So I decided to keep that going, so this film's title will comedically be known as Another Suicide Squad. For today's video, I'm going to showcase just the first section of the pitch, which is going to contain the cast of this film and just which DC characters I picked to be part of this film's Task Force X. For starters, I'm going to be going over the returning cast and squad members for this film, and I'll start with Bloodsport, Idris Elba as Bloodsport. He is one of the 5 remaining surviving characters of the previous film, and will remain as one of the main characters of this film. For those who don't know, I will just be keeping you up to speed with each of these characters' abilities. He was put in prison for trying to assassinate Superman per Lex Luthor's orders with a kryptonite bullet. And his abilities are the ability to summon an advanced arsenal of weaponry from the patches on his suit. The next cast member is, of course, a staple to the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn would return for this sequel and would just be along for the fun as usual. She, of course, survived the last one, and yeah. Next is Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2. She is the third of the 5 remaining cast members that survived the last film. She has the ability she has this mechanism that emits some sort of light/gas, which gives her the ability to control rats. Next is Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, the lovable yet dangerous predator, also known as Nanawe. He will remain the same comedic relief as he was in the previous film. And of course, Viola Davis would return as Amanda Waller, her iconic role, and remains the brains behind Task Force X, but her cold and ruthless actions do lead up to a major plotline to explore in the future. And lastly, director James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, would return as the creepy yet hilarious Weasel. He somehow survived drowning in the waters of Corto Maltese and found himself back in the hands of Amanda Waller and a part of Task Force X once again. He will play a more prominent role in this film than he did in the previous film. A twist with this one, Karen Fukuhara as Katana will return. Tatsu Yamashiro, aka Katana, is a master swordsman and samurai warrior who wields a sword with the ability to capture the spirit of anyone she kills. She was one of the characters which debuted in the original David Ayer Suicide Squad back in 2016, and I decided to bring her back for this one. I think she was severely missed in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I think aesthetically she would have worked perfect with that cast. And speaking of bringing back characters from David Ayer's Suicide Squad, lastly would be Will Smith as Deadshot. Of all the faulties and underachieved opportunities and storylines with that first film, I think Will Smith's performance as Deadshot was one of the guilty pleasures of that movie, and one of its saving graces. I did like his performance as Deadshot. When I think of Deadshot, I thought of Will Smith. And yeah, his He's just a master marksman. Now, for new members of the squad, this film is going to have a very large Task Force X, as the main draw of Suicide Squad is almost nobody comes out alive. So I took advantage of this to kill as many people as possible. Starting off, the new cast of characters is... Oh, and these new characters are also fully casted by me, who I think would be perfect for these roles. So without further ado, let's start with Josh Duhamel as Gunn. Josh Duhamel is, in my opinion, most known for playing the role of Commander Lennox in the Transformers franchise, and he will be playing the comic book character Liam Hockley, or Gunhawk. He is a stoic former U.S. Army sniper who became a mercenary after his service, along with his late wife and partner in crime, Gun Bunny. He seeks revenge for her killing and is the reason he longs to be released from prison. Daisy Edgar Jones as Killer Frost. This will be the Caitlin Snow version, and Caitlin Snow was a scientist who, through a scientific accident, was transformed into an ice-like vampire who needs to steal body heat from other people in order to survive. Olin Rogers as Kite Man. This is a very obscure DC character with a very obscure actor, but Olin Rogers is one of YouTube's long veterans. Is very, very funny. He created the show Final Space, which is a very good show. I recommend it. And he will be playing Charles Brown, aka Kite Man. I don't know, if you check Olin Rogers out, I think his brand of comedy, just his spirit, would do this character a lot of justice. Yahya Abdul-Mateen would be reprising his role as Black Manta from the Aquaman movies, as he will also be returning for the Aquaman sequel coming next year. Aquaman, what was it called? The Lost Kingdom or whatever? I really don't remember, but I am excited for that. And this Black Manta he'll be sentenced to life in prison in Belle Reve, and sort of has this nice arc that he goes through when being an operative of Task Force X. He learns to come to terms with the death of his father and finally just get off of Aquaman's back for it. Daniel Kaluuya will be playing Black Spider. Daniel Kaluuya is famous for his role from the hit thriller Get Out. And he'll be playing Eric Needham, or Black Spider, who is controversially a heroin addict in the comics and is a small-time crook. His main ability is to shoot this sort of gooey substance out of his wrist gauntlets, which are able to tape people to walls. Jensen Ackles would play Catman, famous for his role as Dean in Supernatural. I would love for Jensen Ackles to play Thomas Blake, who is a small-time foe of Batman, who, after returning from Africa and living with a pride of lions, he immediately got caught and was in prison. This character in the comics is very compulsive, and yeah, he just sort of like wants to be Batman, like desperately. Next is... hold on, sorry, getting a little delay. Oh, sorry. Next is Michelle Rodriguez as Tarantula. Michelle Rodriguez is known for her role as Letty from the Fast and Furious franchise. She will be playing Catalina Flores, the former FBI agent turned supervillain adventurer. She is a master martial artist and wields a pair of daggers. In the comics, she's inspired by the original Tarantula, Jonathan Law. Comedian Bill Burr, and also the creator of the popular animated Netflix series F is for Family, would be a decent pick for Leonard Snart, or Captain Cold, equipped with his freeze ray and a pessimistic attitude. Also in this film, one of the main differences I wrote into this is that he is Killer Frost's former foster brother. So they knew each other since they were children, and there's sort of a back and forth that goes on with that, especially since they both have ice powers. Next is... Oh, wait, did I skip someone? No? Okay. John Cho as Malcolm Merlin. Merlin, or his moniker, the Dark Archer, is an ex-member of the League of Assassins, expert archer, and is most known for being one of Green Arrow's arch nemesis, her arch enemies. David Cross would play Sam Scudder, or Mirror Master. This is a guy armed with a ray gun that can shoot portals on any reflective surface. Aubrey Plaza would play Leslie Willis, or mostly known as Livewire. She was a shock jock who gained the power of electricity after a fatal helicopter crash. I think this is one of my favorite castings that I did. Andy Samberg as Rainbow Raider. So, honestly, I think is more ridiculous than the Polka Dot Man. Roy G. Bivlo is a man equipped with goggles which can project hard light rainbows, and which he can use for transportation while committing crimes. So he's basically Frozone except with rainbows, which is pretty cool, I guess. Next, we got Mark Wahlberg as Multiplex. Danton Black is a supervillain with the ability to create duplicate bodies of himself. I think Bruce Willis as Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is another Green Lantern villain. I mean, not Green... Sorry, I keep mixing it up. Not Green Lantern. Green Arrow villains. He's another Green Arrow villain. He is a serial killer who only targets non-superpowered heroes, such as Green Arrow, and has this sort of not impediment even. It's sort of like a tick. He can only speak when imitating the noises around him. So when he's shooting a gun, he's imitating the popping sound of the gun makes, and it's pretty mysterious, this character. Terry Crews as the Tattooed Man, or Mark Richards, is another former U.S. Marine who has the ability to bring his tattoos to life and use it in battle, such as his signature dragon tattoo. Seth Green as the Trickster. Seth Green is the creator of the series Robot Chicken, and he'll be playing the Axel Walker version of the Trickster. He is a skilled acrobatist and a con artist who utilizes gadgets that give him the ability to perform amazing tricks such as walking on air. Next we have Next we have Cillian Murphy as Count Vertigo. Irish theater and film actor Cillian Murphy. I would love for him to play Werner Vertigo, or Count Vertigo. He has the ability to disorient his enemies and alter the balance of others and induce dizziness and nausea. Count Vertigo is one of the original staple members of the Suicide Squad. He was one of the first members when the Suicide Squad first came around in the comics. And if you've seen the animated movie, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, he is one of the members seen in the beginning of the movie. Next, we have Bill Hader as the Eraser, SNL comedian who I do adore. I find him very hilarious. Would play, I think, Batman's weirdest supervillain, Lenny Fiasco. He has the ability to literally... Well, actually, I'm changing his powers a little bit for this one. He not only has the power to erase crime evidence, like fingerprints and such and such, but also erase anything from existence. And he does this by using the pencil topper on top of his weird pencil helmet. Next, we have Seth Rogen as Codpiece. This is probably DC's raunchiest character. His identity is actually pretty unknown, but from what we can tell from the comic he was introduced in, due to And due to his inferiority complex about a certain feature, he created a codpiece weapon system around his hiney, which has a variety of functions, including a cannon, a turret, firing missiles, and sonic attacks. Comedian Jim Rash would play Buddy Stanler, probably DC's iconically pathetic villain, the Condiment King. He is a brainwashed comedian who I think he was actually brainwashed by the Joker in the comics. And he commits crimes using a gun, or in certain cases, guns, blasters that shoot out different types of condiments, like ketchup and mustard. Doesn't get any better than that. That's literally all he is. And it's obvious. I'm putting. It's anyone's guess from the other characters who's gonna die, but it's obvious I'm putting this guy here just for him to die. Rami Malek as Copperhead. Copperhead is also another one of my most favorite DC villains. Rami Malek is famous for his portrayal of Freddie Mercury on film and his role in the hit series Mr. Robot. This Copperhead is the Samir Park version. He was also in the Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, the animated movie, and Samir Park was an Indian criminal and contortionist who mutated himself into a snake man, along with having a mechanical snake tail. Next we have Isla Fisher, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, as Plastique, another original Suicide Squad member. Bet Sansaushi, sorry if I mispronounced that again, Bet Sansaushi is a former Canadian activist and terrorist who somehow gained the ability to generate explosive blasts from anything she touches. So literally, if she touches randomly, if you're wearing a hat, and she touches that hat, you got 5 seconds to take that puppy off before that explodes like a literal grenade. And it's a pretty weird and absurd power, but it's also pretty cool. And lastly, a final member of this squad would be Roman Reigns as KG Beast. Popular WWE wrestler Liadi Josephanaudi, but more commonly known by his stage name Roman Reigns. I think he fits perfectly for the role of Anatoly Kanayev, aka KG Beast. KG Beast was a former Russian assassin who was in the employ of the KGB, the Soviet Union's secret police and intelligence agency, and he has enhanced physique due to cybernetic enhancement and a prosthetic gun in the place of his left hand. And rounding that off, that is all the members of this film's Task Force X. The last thing I want to discuss today is the film's main villain. So yeah, the big bad of this film, if you're judging by the colors, it's actually not the Joker. But the film's main villain would actually be Brainiac, the popular Superman villain, who I think an actor who best fits that role is Digimon Hanzo, who I know he was in A Quiet Place Part 2, and he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think he's a pretty good actor, in my opinion. But yes, Brainiac is an artificial intelligence in an android body with regenerative abilities, but his most prominent ability is the ability to mind control anyone, including the Justice League. And that's it. That's where I'm going to end this video. I plan on making future videos discussing the film's main plot points. A big plot point in this film is actually teased in one of these slides. It's pretty obvious if you were listening. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first section of my Suicide Squad 3 pitch. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day.